Life cycle of a frog. Allah Ta'ala has granted life to every organism. No one has the power to give life but Him. The Quran Majid states, Rabbi alladhi yuhyi wa yumeet. Let's learn about the life cycle of a frog and appreciate the wonders that lie in Allah's creation. A life cycle refers to the changes or stages that an animal goes through while it's alive. A frog goes through 4 stages of life. It changes and grows at each stage. Let's look at each stage one by one. It all starts with a female frog laying hundreds of eggs, usually in or near a water body. These eggs are coated with a jelly-like substance that acts like a protective layer. However, most of the eggs get destroyed due to natural calamities such as rain and wind, resulting in the fertilization of few eggs. These fertilized eggs are known as spawn. Let's take a moment to ponder upon Allah's benevolence on His creations. Even though the frog loses its eggs due to natural calamities, Allah has given it the ability to lay hundreds and thousands of eggs, which equates to its loss and helps in its continued survival. يَخْلُقُ اللَّهُ مَا يَشَاءُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. After a few days, a baby frog known as a tadpole hatches out of the egg that looks more like a fish than a frog and feeds on the yolk of the egg from which it came out. As time passes by, tadpoles develop external gills that help them breathe under the water. Their tails begin to elongate and fins start to develop. They spend their time eating plants and algae as they continue to grow for several weeks. After a few weeks, the external gills begin to disappear and 2 hind limbs start to appear. A few more weeks later, the tadpole appears to look somewhat like a frog as it turns into a froglet, which is the 3rd stage in its life cycle. During this stage, they develop forelimbs and lungs for breathing outside water. In this stage, it uses nutrients stored in its tail as food. In the final stage of its life cycle, by between 12 to 16 weeks, their tail becomes smaller and smaller and eventually disappears. Now it starts to feed on insects and small animals. It is now ready and capable to emerge out of the water and onto dry land. Soon it enters the adult stage in a couple of years to lay its eggs, and more tadpoles are hatched as the cycle continues. This entire physical transformation process from eggs to a frog is known as metamorphosis. To sum up, in this topic, we understood that Allah Ta'ala has endowed the frog with features and characteristics that best facilitate the needs for its survival and continued existence. Its characteristics, movements, growth, reproduction, habitat and body structure explains His wisdom in His creations. The precision and balance that we see in a frog's creation pays for the glory of its creator.